nostalgia critic. I remember, so you don't have to. Every once in a while, you gotta get a little fashionable. And in fashion, there's no name bigger than setting the mode.
Yes, thank you, darlings, yes.
Senna's been planning a nostalgic callback to movie fashion at the turn of the century, so I figure there's no better place to have that fashion show than at the studio of the Nostalgia Critic.
Yes, my first design, the Keanu Matrix Reeves. Notice the long black trench coat that says, I'm a cool, angry rebel. Next, the Wesley Blade Snipes. Notice the long black trench coat that says, I'm a cool, angry rebel. Next, the Wu Sin City Willis. Notice the long black trench coat that says, I'm a cool, angry rebel. Next is the Nicholas Face-Off Cage. Notice the long black trench coat that says, I'm a cool, angry rebel.
Merci.
Next, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Invisible Man. Notice the long black trench coat that says, I'm a cool, angry rebel.
Gracias.
Yes, thank you, darlings, yes.
Yeah, I guess a lot of action stars in the late 90s and early 2000s had a thing for long black coats. On the one hand, it kinda makes sense as they look really cool. They're cinematically pleasing, they wave beautifully in the wind, and they immediately give the impression of that dark loner who does things differently. Yeah, except when everyone else does it. Yeah, now this has become a major cliche, but it is a cool cliche, still making appearances here and there. But one of the last films you could argue just barely got away with it is...
And finally, Kate Underworld Beckinsale. Notice the shoes. And the long black trench coat that says, I'm a cool, angry rebel. Yes!
You clicked on the video, you know which one it is. Released in 2003, this was one of the few comic book movies that was not based on a comic book. Surprisingly, there's not as many of these as you would think, and this by far would confuse the most people into thinking it was. Everything from the look, the story, the lines, it all suggests it came from a graphic novel. But nope, this was an original idea directed by Len Weissman and developed by Danny McBride and Kevin Grievous, who also appeared in the movie. While not a critical favorite, audiences found themselves growing an attachment to both this film and its sequels, even spawning, not surprisingly, its own comic series written by Grievous. But over 15 years later, does this film stand out more than just another long black coat movie? Well, there's only one way to find out.
Do you mind? We're trying to conduct a fashion show here.
Oh, sorry, it's kind of a bad habit I have. I'll be quiet.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next we have...
So let's take a look at Underworld. Yeah, I'm going, yeah.
Normie. There goes the neighborhood.
So how long till we get our angsty protagonist looming over the city shot? Well, you know what the people want. Make room for Daredevil, Batman, Spider-Man.
And the rest.
The war had all but ground to a halt in the blink of an eye.
So I hope you like homework because this movie lays more info in its opening minutes than SAT study guides.
Lucian, the most feared and ruthless leader, had finally been killed. The Lycan horde scattered to the wind in a single evening. The ancient blood feud proved unwilling to follow Lucian to the grave, passed like the weapons of the previous century. For the two no longer held weapons of evolved, the good no longer held the...
Okay, here's the main setup. There's a war between vampires and werewolves, or Lycans, and the vampires mostly wiped them out. However, they're shocked to find there's still quite a few left, more than they thought. Oh, and Lenny dies. I think that page was meant for something else. Today's forecast is like yesterday's forecast, blue. A whole shit ton of blue. Okay, so something you'll notice very quickly is even though this movie has a lot of cliches, they're the really good cliches. Like I could watch a whole movie of people just staring at each other before shit goes down. See, there's just something cool about it. A fight breaks out as a vampire named Celine, played by Kate Beckinsale, hunts down some Lycans in a subway station. Hey, come on, we're matrixing down here! How come movies about amazing hunters always have them missing more things than they hit? But to quote Blazing Saddles, you shoot him, that only makes him mad. This is no time to reenact Sorry to Bother You! Yeah, for the people that haven't seen it, good luck figuring that out. The Lycan takes out the vampires though, so only Celine is left. Yeah, those loud subway trains do sneak up on ya! She pumpkin bombs the last Lycan standing as the survivors make it back to their leader, Lucian, played by Michael Sheen. Sadly, he's actually trying in this movie, so we don't get anything that goofy. But seeing how this is a vampire flick, I am curious to see his new take on Frost Nixon.
Pierce! Taylor! Put some clothes on, will you?
There's only so much the widescreen balls can cover. Celine returns home at Vampire Toad Hall as she reports that the Lycans are still around.
Ultraviolet ammunition.